Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Remember, if you love film, gaming, or television content, please consider clicking that subscribe button. Ever since we have seen the Academy Awards nominations for this year, there is the usual discourse surrounding nominations, which I definitely have added to, but one category that had a lot of bizarre snubs was Best International Feature, where a huge frontrunner like Decision to Leave was snubbed, which I personally thought was terrible. But the one I want to talk about here is the snub of RRR and why it didn't get nominated. There is a lot of confusion surrounding the topic as it seemed like a lock, so let me do my best to let you know what rule the Academy has that cost RRR a monumental Oscar nomination. So let's get into it. So this rule has been in place ever since the category has been around, I think, and I can understand why it is in place, which I will explain later, but as international films have become a lot more prominent amongst Western audiences, it feels like it is quickly becoming outdated.
Well, how old are you? No,
The rule is that each country hoping for a Best International Feature Oscar must only submit one film to be nominated, and because of that, only one film from that country can be considered. This affected RRR because India made a strange decision to select Last Film Show, which I have not seen, but I have heard it's kind of like The Fabelmans. If you've seen it, please let me know if it's a good watch, because from the stills it does look like a good watch. I don't know the impact this film had on Indian audiences compared to RRR, but it must have been significant to choose that. Now, the Academy Awards voters based off Statista in 2022, Academy voters were split 81% white to 19% non-white, and 67% of them were men. If you want to see that data for yourself, I will have it linked in the description below. I could not find a split in terms of nationality, but I will assume based off where the Academy Awards are held every year, that the vast majority of voters are from the US, which means if you are a country outside of the USA hoping for an Academy Award, you need to submit the film that resonated the most with American audiences. This does seem a little bit backward to me, as a lot of people in the US, and especially Academy voters, do not know the ins and outs of every country and barely understand the culture of a lot of countries. So how do you know the impact a film may have on a certain country and how special it really is? Anyway, getting sidetracked, RRR was overwhelmingly the Indian film that hit all Western audiences, and fair enough too. It is a great film that has so many creative moments and does what the best international films do, which is expose us to a whole new culture which we may have been ignorant of before. It is a brilliant film, and it is annoying that because of some silly rule that it could not receive 2 Oscar nominations over its bare minimum 1 in the song category. A similar story happened a few years ago where Portrait of a Lady on Fire never got submitted by France, and therefore it could not go up against Parasite in that category. Which is a shame that a film so well executed like that one did not receive a single nomination. Broker, the new film starring Song Kang-ho, also had a similar fate this year, as Decision to Leave was Korea's submission. So Broker instantly has no chance of getting nominated for international film. Now, I am sure that there are other reasons why a film does not get put forward by a country due to the Academy's eligibility in that category. For example, each film needs to be in 35 or 70 millimeters, it needs to hit certain technical specifications in sound, it needs proof of advertising, and the committee selecting the film needs to disclose up-to-date and accurate information relating to the film's citizenship. There are so many more little rules like that, which I won't get into even further because we'll just get buried in words. But they all hinder the chances of a film getting put forward for a nomination. And also, to see all the rules, I have linked it in the description as well. It is from 2021, but I still think it would be fairly relevant today. Now that international films are becoming a more viable option for production companies and are more widely accepted by Western audiences, with studios like A24, Neon, and Janus Films being some notable studios that push forward distribution and international films in the US, I think we need to up the amount of films allowed by the Academy to submit to the Oscars. There are a couple of solutions available, and I think the first one I'm going to present to you would be the best one. We know some countries have a larger output of films being released. For example, from the quick look I had, India produces more films than the US every year. The US tends to release 200 to 400 films each year, while India hits over 1,000. We know that Korea, China, and France have got quite a large output of films released every year too. And there's also countries like Spain, Australia, and Germany have a decent output each year, while not quite as high as some of those other countries. I think there should be some kind of tiered system where if a country reaches a cap in terms of film releases every year, they should be allowed up to 2 extra submissions, totaling at 3. Mid-range countries in terms of output should have 2 submissions, and smaller countries that don't distribute too often only have 1. I think that may be the fairest way to do it, and will make the international feature race a lot more competitive. And who knows, instead of having 1 international film nominated each year for 1 country, we can have 2, as the amount of screeners that voters would need to see increases. Which, going back to my earlier point, I think the reason that each country can only submit 1 film is the fact that there are going to be more screeners. Academy voters all have worked or are currently working in film and may be too busy to watch every single film that gets pushed forward, which is disappointing because as an Academy voter, your job or role is to watch as many films as you can to make an educated vote. So having an unlimited amount of films made from around the world and having to watch as many of them as you can become an impossible task, which is why it is restricted, I believe. But as I said, in a tiered system, I don't think they would need to watch too many more films. Another solution would be to just make it open. Whatever film gets the most attention and praise amongst the group of Academy voters, and that's what they vote for. You may see one country get 2 or 3 nominations, but as it is purely off merit and is fair, I don't really see a problem with that because the next year that same country may have no nominations. Anyway, if you're a little confused as to why RRR did not receive a nomination for Best International Feature, I hope I helped alleviate that for you. I think it is a shame that it missed, and other films will continue to miss in the future, which could very well compete for the win in this category. I think the more films that get pushed that have genuine quality behind it, the better. For no reason should we be rejecting the highest possible honor in film to a country where they have a ton of pride seeing their film getting represented on that stage. I don't know how much Academy voters realize that impact. I'm sure seeing Bong Joon-ho win a ton of Oscars inspired many aspiring filmmakers around the world who may have thought it impossible that they could reach that stage because of where they're from. And that award will continue to do that for many countries around the world. So I do hope that rule gets tweaked a little in the future. Thank you so much for watching the video. Tell me in the comments below what you think about this rule. Are you fine with the way it is now, or would you like to see it change too? Remember to subscribe and hit the like button, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Goodbye.